Patch notes, everybody, everywhere. We got patch notes coming September 3rd. Alright guys, we got a set of changes coming up in the upcoming patch on Tuesday, and let's talk about it. House Death Knights are getting some pretty big nerfs. Across the board, bring them in line with other classes. For Druids, Umbral Intensity is getting nerfed, but to make up for it, we're getting Star Surge, Starfall, and Harmony of the Heavens buffs. For Feral, Rampant Ferocity is getting a decent buff, making it apply to Blood Talons and Lion Strength. Devastation Evokers are getting some nice little buffs, 6% across the board, as well as major buffs to the Firestorm ability. And Flame Shaper Evokers are getting big buffs to Engulf's damage, which was heavily needed. That spell was very weak. For Hunters, the Pack Leader Hero specialization is getting some major buffs, especially for Survival Hunters, where several of the procs are getting powered up by 100%. Fire Mages are seeing a nice set of buffs, Living Bomb, Pyroblast, and Flame Strike all getting buffs up there, and Frostfire Mage is getting a bonus of 25% of it for the Fire speciality. Where the Sun Fury specialization is seeing some minor nerfs and a little bit of changes to how it interacts with spell queuing. Retribution Paladins are getting across the board 5% increase of all their holy damage, and to make up for that is getting a slight nerf to their mastery. We're seeing some minor buffs to Shadow Priest and Discipline Priest, and we're seeing a big buff to non-raid PvE content for Atonement. Elemental Shamans are seeing a general across-the-board reduction in their damage and a buff to their mastery. And we're seeing a target cap added to the Tempest ability for Stormbringers. Enhancement Shamans, they're trying to buff up the damage of Elemental Blast and reducing the rest of the damage across the board. We're getting that same target cap for Tempest for Stormbringers, and they're buffing up the AoE damage potential of the Totemic, with both Tremor and Searing Volley seeing big boosts. And for Warlocks, Destruction is getting a pretty big across-the-board 5% buff. In PvP, Druids are seeing some big buffs to their cat abilities, where Balanced Druids are seeing a pretty big nerf to both Lunar Calling and Umbral Embrace. Icelands is seeing a pretty big drop in power for mages, as are several of the healing abilities across the board for monks. Prayer of Mending is receiving a big healing increase, as are all of the main abilities of the Enhancement Shaman, some major buffs for those guys there. And for warriors, Fury's Odin's Fury and Thunderous Roar are both seeing reductions, where Arms is actually getting a increase in damage dealt, with no longer receiving a 12% penalty to their auto attacks. These are the changes coming across the board to this first patch of War Within. I think this is a pretty minor set of tweaks. They're not getting too deep into anything, with the most significant thing really being these changes to Pack Leader. This hero specialization was really below bar, so I'm really glad they're bringing changes to it to bring it up in line with more of the other specializations. I hope you enjoyed this patch notes review. I'm Zesty Fresh with Zaza Games, and we'll catch you guys next time.